Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. In the last episode, we got to cross-examine the parrot. Everything is complete. Life is perfect. So now, it's time to get back to, is he Yanni Yogi or not?
Witness, tell us your name.
Wait, this witness, he doesn't remember.
No, it's okay.
Oh.
I've accomplished what I wanted to do, I'm done. Nick, he looks totally different. This is the real Yogi, I think. Finally. He's been acting feeble to hide his true identity. Acting for 15 years.
Well, let me ask you again. Please state your name for the court.
You know what? It's too late. That's his voice. I'm not going to give him a different voice just because now he's acting different. My name is Yanni Yogi. 15 years ago, I served as a bailiff in this very court.
Order, order. Yanni Yogi. So was it you who killed Robert Hammond and tried to frame Miles Edgeworth for his death?
Yes, it was me. I did it. They put me on the witness stand 50 years ago. Robert Hammond, he said I was mentally unsound. He told me it would make me innocent, get me off the hook. So, I pretended to have brain damage. I was innocent, really, but he didn't believe me. We won the trial, but I lost everything. I lost my job, my fiance, my social standing. Oh man, this year, 15 years later, a package arrived. It was a letter and a pistol. The plan was written all in careful detail. It was a plan for me to take my revenge on the people who ruined my life. I didn't care who had seen it. I thought it was my chance after 15 years, this was it. Finally a chance to have my revenge on Robert Hammond and Miles Edgeworth. I have no regrets.
Well, wait a moment. Revenge against Miles Edgeworth? What do you mean?
I'm not at liberty to speak on that matter. Why don't you ask Mr. Edgeworth yourself? Anyway, I admit it. I was the one who killed Robert Hammond. Hey, easy.
Von Karma, where is Mr. Yogi?
Under arrest, Your Honor. I saw no room of error in his confession.
The defendant Miles Edgeworth is
Innocent, in this case at least.
Very well. Will the defendant please take the stand? There are a few mysteries left unsolved. Still, you are cleared of suspicion for this particular case. So I would like to pass judgment on the murder of Mr. Robert Hammond. Any objections?
I don't believe it. Why isn't Von Karma saying anything?
Very well. This court finds the defendant Mr. Miles Edgeworth
Not guilty.
Confetti! Suck it, Von Karma. Your perfect record's no more.
That is all. This court is adjourned.
No, 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 no. Edgeworth, shut up. This isn't the time.
Did someone just say objection?
It wasn't Von Karma. Wait, but that means... No. Edgeworth! Your Honor, I object to your judgment.
What do you mean?
I'm not innocent at all. As we have heard, Yanni Yogi killed Robert Hammond in revenge. But revenge for what? Nick! Edgeworth is trying to confess! He's going to say he's guilty! He's going to tell them he was the murderer in the DL6 incident! He's going to tell them he killed his own dad! Uh-oh, what do I do? No, Edgeworth, shut up! This is the time! The judgment has already been passed. I object to Edgeworth's outburst.
Didn't something like this happen yesterday too? I believe a certain witness raised an objection after a guilty verdict was passed.
That would be Larry.
We must hear this new statement. We must hear Miles Edgeworth.
He's right. We have a duty to hear Mr. Edgeworth out.
Edgeworth! Why? Why must you do this? For 15 years, I've had a recurring dream. A nightmare. It's only a nightmare. That's what I told myself. But now I know it wasn't a dream. Yanni Yogi wasn't the killer.
You mean in the incident where your father died?
From the distance of the shot, it wasn't suicide either. Everything was clear as day. The murder. The criminal in the DL6 incident. It was me. Your Honor, I confess my guilt. I am guilty for the DL6 statute of limitations of which ends today. The culprit is me. Edgeworth, I don't buy it. Cause think it this way. Dude whipped out his gun, didn't shoot it, cause you knocked out his hand, thinking he was gonna attack your father. You then threw the gun at him, the gun fired, but the gun fired twice. There's a shot through his chest while he was sitting on the floor, and then a shot through the window. I'm just gonna say, if he was sitting against that wall and a bullet pierced his heart, I'm gonna say, on top of that, the bullet was found lodged in his heart, so there's no way there was a clean exit hole for the bullet to go outside the elevator if you threw the gun and then immediately shot your dad. So I'm calling, you didn't do it.
This is certainly unexpected. The defendant declared innocent is confessing to a different crime. A crime of which the statute of limitation runs out today. I'm not really sure how I should deal with this.
Bah, it's obvious. We hold a trial right here, right now. We tried this man for the crime of 15 years ago.
I think I would like to take a 5-minute recess. During this time, I would consider the appropriate course of action to take. Court is adjourned.
Ah, Edgeworth, we were scot-free. We were home. December 28th, 2:24 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 2. I'm sorry, Wright. I just wasted all of your effort.
Mr. Edgeworth, I don't believe it, sir. I mean, you kill your dad?
I didn't want to believe it myself, Detective, but it's the truth. I deserve to be punished. Murder is murder, no matter what circumstance.
This is crazy, just crazy.
Nick, what are you doing? Huh? Oh, I was just reading through the court records once more. I'm getting my case ready. Your case for what? Huh? Isn't it obvious? I'm going to prove that Miles Edgeworth is innocent.
Well, what are you talking about, pal? He just admitted to it. He confessed that he did it. In court.
I'm sorry, Edgeworth, but I don't believe your nightmare. What? It's just a dream. It's not real. The truth is right here in the court record. In any case, tighten your belt. The real fight is just beginning. I'll prove you're innocent. Trust me. Right. December 28th, 2:30 p.m. District Court, Defendant number 3.
Now then, I would like to resume our trial.
Judge, Miles Edgeworth has admitted to his own guilt. He has confessed his crime. Let us begin by hearing his testimony. Then, though pointless, let the defense to the cross-examination. The statute of limitation on DL6 incident runs out today. Though it's unconventional for me, I'd like to run this one by the book.
I see, does the defense have any objections?
No, Your Honor. Von Carmen, you knew this was going to happen from the very beginning, didn't you?
Very well. Will Mr. Miles Edgeworth take the stand?
Will the witness state his name and profession?
Miles Edgeworth, I'm a prosecuting attorney.
Mr. Edgeworth, 15 years ago you mistakenly killed your father, Gregory Edgeworth. Is this correct?
It is correct.
Then testify about this matter to the court.
When Edgeworth was telling me about his dream yesterday, I noticed something. One detail didn't quite fit. That will be the key, but only if I can get it to work. Please, please! The DL6 incident. That day, I had gone to the courtroom to observe one of my father's trials. As we went to leave, an earthquake struck, trapping us in the elevator. My father, Mr. Yogi, lost the composure and began to argue. Just then, something heavy fell at my feet. I picked it up and threw it at Mr. Yogi. I wanted them to stop fighting. A moment later, there was a single gunshot, then a scream. It was a terrible scream. I remember this to this day. That's all.
And until now you thought this memory was a dream.
We were stuck in the elevator for 5 hours. The oxygen in the elevator ran out. I lost my memory of the events.
Bah, the same claim Mr. Yogi has made.
Very well. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Hold on. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. That day you've gone to observe a trial, who cares? Earthquake struck, who cares? Your father lost his composure, and fair enough. Just then something heavy fell at your feet, you picked it up and threw it. A single gunshot? Are you sure? The gun fired once? Yes. I think after I threw it, I lost consciousness. Since then, they've echoed into my head every day. The gunshot and the horrible scream. The scream. Okay, well, I don't care about anything about the scream. I want to talk about the single gunshot. Are you sure you only heard one gunshot? Yes, I'm sure of that. I heard the shot and the scream. Then everything faded. I was unconscious until the rescuers came.
I see.
No, Your Honor. Unfortunately, you don't. Look at this file one more time. This plainly contradicts the witness's testimony.
You do enjoy dragging out that file, don't you? I don't accept this evidence unless you can tell us on what page it is on.
Check. One bullet in the heart, the murder weapon was fired twice. There we go! It's on page 2.
Which page contradicts Miles Edgeworth's testimony?
The victim data! Look at the victim's data in the file. It says this quite plainly. The murder weapon was fired twice. Miles Edgeworth only heard one gunshot, yet the murder weapon was fired twice. The first shot was the accidental firing when the pistol was thrown. So, who fired the remaining shot?
Was there perhaps another shooter who fired the second shot?
Your Honor, as I am sure you are aware, this incident occurred 15 years ago. The evidence is dated. The pistol did fire twice. However, we do not know when the second shot was fired. It might have been fired the day before the incident. There is no proof that the second shot had anything to do with this incident.
There's a bullet hole in this man's chest and a bullet hole leading out the elevator. What?
I see. You do have a point, Mr. Wright. The murder weapon was fired twice, as we have heard. One of these shots was fired by the defendant, a boy at the time. Do you have any proof that the other shot had fired something to do with the case?
Yes, I do. Your Honor, I will be able to show you your proof.
What? Impossible.
No, Mr. Von Comma. Save your surprises for after you've seen the evidence. Very well, Mr. Wright. Show us your proof. Do you have evidence that the second firing of the pistol related to this incident?
Ahaha! Would y'all look at this? Look at this photograph.
This is a photograph of the crime 15 years ago. I can see the victim lying there is Gregory Edgeworth.
This proves the murder weapon was fired twice at the time of the incident. This photo proves it.
So let me get it straight. This photo proves 2 shots were fired. Where?
Your Honor, please get a clue. Show the judge the contradiction in this photo. Look, he has a bullet hole in his chest, sure, but look at this. Shabang! And it should be obvious, the contradiction is here.
I see a bullet hole in the door.
Your Honor, Gregory Edgeworth was killed by a shot from the pistol, yet there is also a bullet hole in the elevator door. We also know that the murder weapon was fired twice. Thus, someone other than Edgeworth fired that second shot.
Order. Mr. Wright, what are you driving at?
It's simple, Your Honor. At the time of the incident, 2 shots were fired. One went to Gregory Edgeworth's heart. The other hit the elevator door. Remember that the defendant lost consciousness after the shot he fired rang out. In conclusion, we must agree that that the second shot was fired by someone else.
Mr. Wright, but who could that someone else be?
The murderer, of course.
I knew I should have stepped in before your wild fantasies got out of hand. Mr. Wright, look once more at the Ep36 incident case file. Look closely. Try the case summary page.
The case summary? That's on page 1. Okay. Fine. We'll go look at it. Air and elevator was oxygen depleted at the time of the incident. No clues found on the scene. All someone has to do is take the clue with them.
Look what is written there. Not a single clue is found on the scene. If the pistol had indeed been fired 2 times, then the other bullet would have been discovered on the scene.
He does have a point.
The second bullet has never been found. Why? Because the second bullet does not exist. The bullet that claimed Gregory Edgeworth's life was the one fired by his own son. That is the truth of this matter, the whole truth. It was undoubtedly something else that made the bullet hole in that door.
X to doubt?
Order, I will have order. Mr. Wright has proven one thing to us quite clearly, that the murder weapon was fired twice at the time of the incident. However, as Mr. Von Comma says, the second bullet fired was not found. It is highly unlikely that the police merely overlooked this second bullet. So, we have the single bullet fired. I'm afraid I have to discount the defense's claim.
Tusk, tusk, tusk. I praise the judge for his wisdom in this matter.
Gah. How did this happen? I don't believe that the second bullet didn't exist. Was I wrong? Have I been wrong about this whole incident? What are you doing, Nick? Why aren't you raising an objection? I'm sorry, Maya. What? It looks like I was wrong. Nick? If the second bullet wasn't there, then all my conjectures are for nothing. No. But you said you'd do it, Nick. You said that you'd get Edward declared innocent. I'm sorry. It's just when I saw the photograph, I thought the 2 shots had been fired. I was so certain of it, I thought I'd won. I thought there was another person, someone else who fired the killing shot. But now, I was wrong to think it could be that simple. This case has stood unsolved for 15 years. Nick!
Well, it seems that we have finally cleared up this incident. Only 1 bullet was fired at the scene of the crime. The shot was fired by Miles Edgeworth.
Precisely.
I would like to ask one thing of Miles Edgeworth before passing my verdict. Have you been paying attention to the trial so far?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any objections?
No, I do not.
So you killed your father, though. That was not your intention.
Yes, I did. Oh no! He's accepted the guilt.
Very well. The statute of limitation on the murder of Gregory Edgeworth runs out today. Therefore, I must pronounce a verdict on the defendant today, right here.
Right now.
Indeed. Does anyone have any objections?
I've been here before. It's just like my first day in court. There are so many things I know I should be saying, but my mind's gone blank. I can't find the words.
Mr. Wright, I have an objection.
Your Honor. Your Honor, I object.
Tusk, tusk, tusk. Mr. Wright, on what ground do you object?
Oof. Nick? I don't know. I don't know. His case is perfect. Oh no! Grah.
What must exist? The second bullet.
What? What did you just say? Nothing! The second bullet must exist, but where?
Someone took it.
It seems waiting is not going to produce any answers for Mr. Wright.
Wait, Your Honor. The second bullet, it existed.
What? But we just heard proof that it did not exist.
I realize that, Your Honor. I'm really grasping here. It's just someone took it from the scene of the crime. That's what happened.
But who?
The murderer.
The murderer? Then tell us just who is this murderer?
I'm still thinking about that one.
So the criminal took the second bullet, but why?
Huh?
First of all, how would they have found it? It's not easy to find a stray bullet, Mr. Wright. Was there some pressing need for the murderer to search for that bullet?
The murderer didn't need it. The murderer had to find it, the murderer didn't need it. I'm gonna say the murderer didn't need it, because the murderer had to find it seems like too correct to be correct. Why would the murderer have spent the time looking for the stray bullet? I haven't got a clue.
What's wrong, Mr. Wright?
Bah, the murderer has no reason to take the bullet. You don't want to admit it, but it's true.
Irk.
Had to take it.
Had to take it? The murderer, what does that mean?
Oh, you're thinking too normal. Think crazy. Don't think why the bullet was taken. Think why the bullet had to be taken.
Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor? I have no idea what I'm doing. Well, the murderer had no intention of taking the bullet from the scene. But, the murderer had to take the bullet.
Had to? Mr. Wright, what do you mean?
Well, for instance...
For instance, what?
Maybe the bullet, hit the murderer.
The bullet hit the murderer?
Just saying, for instance. I mean, if it hit you, would you have... I mean, if it hit you, you would have to take it with you, wouldn't you? It's not like you could perform surgery right there. You know? Wait a second. I was just talking off the top of my head, but what if that's really what happened?
Let me get this straight. So at the time of the murderer themselves was shot, and they left with the second bullet still inside of them, thus leaving only 1 bullet at the scene of the crime.
Yes, I guess that's how it would work, yes.
But there's a problem with that. The other two people rescued from the elevator, Miles Edgeworth and Yana Yogi, were both unharmed. So that would mean
The murderer came from outside. Yes.
the two men inside the elevator. Trying to stop them, the boy picks up the pistol at his feet and throws it. Bang! The pistol discharges in the bullet. The bullet goes through the elevator door and hits the murderer outside. The boy loses consciousness.
I hope this is the judge saying all this.
Then the murderer opens the elevator door and sees the men inside. Mr. Wright, you are truly the most unpredictable defense attorney I've ever known. I can tell you're grasping, yet I cannot deny the possibility of what you say.
What are you saying? Deny it. Deny it. No one involved with the incident was wounded. There was no murderer.
No one was wounded at the time of the incident. He's right. I can't think of anyone. Hey, Nick! Huh? I just thought of something. Really crazy. Crazy? Remember what Mr. Grossberg said yesterday? Oh no, I don't have water. Okay, this is gonna be awful.
The blow to his perfect childhood.
Wow!
It wasn't quite the shock for Hong the classification for some of myself like this way. Yes, my usual thing for the mine. That was the first and the last vacation I was taken and money out of the prosecutor.
What if Von Karma didn't take the vacation because of shock? But took it because he was injured? Which would mean... It could only mean one thing. He was the murderer in the DL6 incident. He was the man who shot Gregory Edgeworth. It was Von Karma. Oh man.
Something wrong, Mr. Wright. You seem dazed.
No, Your Honor.
Well, you have indicated the possibility that the murderer came from outside. Can you give us the name of your suspect?